Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. Right?
No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
The millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
OMG, baby, tell them.
Hey there, welcome to One Take, powered by backers. Justin Fox, Christie, Chewka. Christie, thank you very much for joining me. I should have asked, actually, did I say the last name right?
You did, yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Awesome. So I'll do a quick little intro here. So Christie, you are a digital transformation and social media algorithm specialist, which is sort of what we got here. But you spent years working on board cruise ships, creating a social buzz for shopping ashore, using in-cabin television, live presentations, live seminars, and creative promotions. You became an award-winning, record-breaking social communications dynamo. Now you're ready to take what you learned and apply it to your business using the online marketing tools most appropriate for businesses. So there's no cookie-cutter solutions to social media experience. Creativity, and patience all come together. So there you go. I maybe bastardized that a little bit. I was trying to reword it for the audience, but so you are coming from sort of the social buzz, trying to get people to shop ashore. So go into off the cruise into the local sort of wherever the cruise has landed, I guess. And so why don't we start there? Explain to me what that is. Because that's interesting. I've never been on a cruise. The only cruise we were supposed to go on was last March break, and it was canceled. So a year ago, March break. So we missed out on that. We're going to do a sort of a Caribbean cruise, and that obviously got canceled literally the day before the cruise was leaving due to COVID. But tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna preface it with for anybody here, they're probably going to know a little bit about social, maybe a little bit about digital. And what was really cool is every cruise ship is its own ecosystem, right? So imagine you're starting a new business every week. You have 2,500 people walking on that ship, and that's a small one. That's a tiny one. You have to figure out how to get their attention, stop them from going to the beach, or finding a way that they can go to the beach and do their shopping. And so you're basically starting a new business every week. And the lessons that you learn, I don't know if anybody out there is looking to hire somebody. If they ever have cruise ship employee come across their resume, hire that person. You will never meet a harder, more fun working bunch of people. So that's what my role was. I was a professional shopper, which is really just, fancy word for high paid, not high paid, sorry, but high pressure sales position where people walk on the ship and you tell them about the stores ashore and hoping to get them in so that they can, buy that beautiful tax and duty free product. Right. So it was a lot of fun. Yeah. So,
okay, cool. So so it's interesting. So it's cool how you're saying it's like a whole new audience every week, right? So you're literally like 2,500 people that have arguably many of whom I'm assuming have never been on a cruise ship, don't know what to expect. Like I just was saying, or just kind of have signed up for a whole new experience, and maybe their perception of what they're going to do, you're trying to maybe not necessarily alter it, but like incorporate everything into what you're trying to offer. So, okay, just quickly. So are you as the kind of the ashore, are you compensated just out of the stores that they would go shop at, or how does that work? Or what's the motivation, I guess, from you as a on board ashore assistant or whatever you would want to, what was your title, I guess? What would your title have been?
Port shopping ambassador is a good one, right?
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Shopper, port shopping ambassador.
Okay.
shopping expert, just
Okay.
dependent on what ship and what cruise line.
Right.
Yeah, so we're compensated. We're compensated on a weekly basis, and we also do make commission off of the
Okay.
the product that we sell ashore, because
Right.
that's the whole goal. But it's actually a really beautiful. People are either going to hate it or love it. To tell you the honest truth, I think it's beautiful. You're coming on board, and it might be an anniversary. You get to go ashore and find this amazing piece of jewelry that you won't find anywhere else. And you get
Right.
somebody to help you, right? So I don't do it anymore. I did it for about 10, 15 years, and it was one of the best jobs I've ever had. The skills that you learn when you're doing it, that's something otherworldly. Where else do you get to start a new business every week or every 2 days or every 14 days, right?
Right. And try to build those relationships and kind of, and do you actually go ashore with them
Yeah.
and help them shop? Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you're kind of,
don't technically work in port because we're not allowed to legally technically work in port.
okay.
But we do go in and help and assist and give.
Okay. Interesting. I like how you gave the shout out to all cruise employees being hired. They're great people. Yeah. It's funny that you said, so we were actually going on our anniversary. You mentioned that, but it's funny. I actually looked, this is many, many years ago as well. Sort of, I was starting my career. I looked at an opportunity to work on a cruise ship. Didn't take it, but it seemed like it would be an amazing experience, especially as on the ship, because the employees or the staff, right, are there pretty much consistently, I think, for like a 6-month stay or like a period of time, right, where you're kind of, and then obviously the guests kind of come and go, right? So you probably get to know the other staff in all the different facets, whether it's the entertainment or all.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
So
right there.
becomes,
So I didn't expect to come in here and start like promoting the cruise industry, but why not? So the other thing is anybody who takes that job, imagine, so you're starting a new business every week, right?
right,
No matter where you are, even if you're in the gift shop or whatever, your whole new pipeline every week. Then you're learning different customer service skills from around the world. You're having different management styles from around the world, and you get to live and talk and hang out with and become family with all of these. And like, I'm getting chills talking about it. I know it's bizarre, but it never leaves your system. You're just gonna walk away with a completely, totally different perspective on people, right? Because
people are hired from all over as well, right? They're not just like Canadian, or I mean, we're Canadian, we're here in sort of the GTA, but
Filipino, Indonesia, India, like anywhere, Romania, Eastern Europe, all the Eastern European.
Right. So did you, just to kind of get into your experiences, did you actually, so cruise, what, like, obviously you've got Caribbean, but like, were you actually on cruises, maybe going cross Pacific, cross Atlantic, like all over the world?
Yeah, I was very, very lucky that I got to do the Baltics as well. When I did that, it wasn't port shopping. I was actually art auctioneer on board, and that's another story.
Okay. That sounds like, okay, yeah. So it's very a lot of obviously, like, you've got a captive audience, right, on these cruises, right? So I guess your goal, and whether it's the auction or anything, is to figure out how to kind of connect with these people. Is that so what were some of the strategies that you guys would use that like would be sort of like underlying, that maybe would be transferable to what you're doing now?
So, and going back, it's kind of like having a podcast, right? How many podcasts are out there? So you think you have a captive audience from people who like to listen to podcasts, but how do you make your podcast stand out? It's the same sort of thing. Like,
I'm still trying to figure that out.
Right. So you have to figure it out, and you don't have a lot of time to do that when you're on a ship anyways. So all kinds of different things like contests, right? We do that in real world marketing as well, and real world online promotion and podcasts. So you have a contest to build your audience. You find ways to attract for you, for example, you're doing it by having so many people come. You're really expanding your viewer base or your listener base by attracting so many different people. And then who knows, eventually you might niche down to a point where, okay, you've targeted it in and you've attracted all of these people. Now you're only going to talk about this topic. That's basically what you do on a ship as well, is you have to cast a very wide net, and then you walk them through a series of events or activities that will narrow down to the buyers. So what's really cool is it's the same everywhere. You don't realize it until you get to do it 100 times in a row,
Right.
that you can just take those skills and pretty much apply them in any business, whether it's podcasting or digital marketing or give me another one, anything.
Any business, equity crowdfunding.
Yeah,
Which,
exactly. Same
yeah.
thing. You cast that wide net, and then it's up to you to find out how you're gonna speak to the right buyer to get
Right.
them down to narrow it down so that you're only talking to them now, right?
Right.
And it's a lot of fun.
Right.
The whole process, the journey is, when you do it that often, that many times in a row, you really have fun doing that journey
In the process each time, right? Kind of exploring it. So, okay. So, I mean, you've kind of touched on sort of a marketing or sales type of funnel where you've got, the wide net and you kind of bring them through the process there. I mean, this is kind of maybe more of a very technical or specific question, but if you have, you said 2,500, maybe it's 5,000, whatever the ship size, maybe it's smaller, maybe more, whatever that number is. What percentage of those would you kind of expect on a weekly basis to kind of be your end customer?
It depended.
Yeah. Okay.
And that goes back to listening, right? So it's the same thing. It's listening. What I would do, and here I am giving away all my tips. If you're listening, anyone.
We're here to hear your tips. Yes.
I would, instead of going ashore on embarkation day, I would stand at the gangway on embarkation day as they were coming on the ship. You can hear their conversations. You can see the way they're dressed. You can see their luggage. Right. You can basically get a really good idea of who your audience is going to be, and then you target that audience, right? So your marketing changes those percentages.
Right.
So that's I have a problem with people who automate too much and they're not in there and adjusting it every week. They set it and forget it sort of thing. It's constantly changing, right? So that is your algorithm. It's the same sort of thing. You have to pay attention to your algorithm. You have to pay attention to that messaging. You have to pay attention. Are your customers shifting? Did something happen in the news today that all of a sudden it changes? Was
Right.
there a snowstorm and you thought you were going to get all of these people from Texas, and then there's a snowstorm and they didn't make the ship? You have to adjust, or there's a weather problem and you're not going to that port anymore. You have to adjust. And so when you start to look at those adjustments as opportunities instead of I don't know what to do,
Right.
those adjustment periods can make you really target in on that and go, oh, I didn't even realize that was an opportunity before. You know what I mean? And it can open up doors. So
It definitely, yeah. So yeah, definitely when one closes, sort of another door potentially opens. So it's interesting. So
sometimes it's a trap door.
Sometimes what's that? A trap door?
It's a trap door. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. You never know what's on the other side. So okay. So that's interesting. So now transition into where you're at now. So you were working there, like you said, for many years, 10 to 15 years. Now you're with. Sorry, I said it earlier. Media Squirrel, right? Media Squirrel. Is that kind of like, there's a nut there, or was that any inspiration at all? Where I think a lot of businesses, I've heard, it's actually the other way around. There, where sort of the typical business owner is kind of like a dog when they see a squirrel. They're like, oh, squirrel, and they're like trying to sort of chase after the newest, shiniest thing, and they don't really build that core part of their business, and they're too busy always chasing after the newest, greatest thing. Tell us a little bit about Media Squirrel. I probably just said a bunch of nothing for no point, but
no, that was actually perfect, because I'll tell you, that's the whole thing, right? Like, so Media Squirrel came out of me getting coming on land, trying to fit in, because all of a sudden I can't work. And
sounds like you were like a pirate. You were a pirate or a sailor. You're like,
yeah,
matey, I'm on land. Now I gotta fit in, right?
Now you're giving me a cubicle and fluorescent light. This isn't gonna work for me.
Right. That's gotta be the best work environment too, right? Just like cruising around, and that's
Can you
amazing.
imagine, like you don't have a bad day, because when you're a little, I need a break, you walk outside, you're staring at the ocean, and you go back, and it's people, you can basically fit that little vacation into that 15 minutes that you're outside breathing the salt air. So
that's amazing.
I came on and I took a look around, and it was that frustration of of watching things move so slow, and when I'm used to every 7 days starting a new business, so I started to take a look at social media, and I started to take a look at digital marketing, and I realized that it was all the same. And if you're not looking at your campaign like a new business every time, are you missing out on some opportunities, right? So if you're only running your next campaign based on what happened in that last campaign, instead of looking outside of what happened in that last campaign as well, and figuring out, okay, so I attracted these people, but why didn't I attract these people? And just and looking at the data differently. So that's where Media Squirrel came in, and I found that people weren't building their foundations, right? So taking that time to build that foundation, which to some people is boring, I find it absolutely fascinating, which is why I don't mind doing it.
Right.
You build your foundation. And then having the squirrel syndrome's not necessarily a bad thing, because you see also people who they sign up for that one piece of tech, and then they're not budging, they're staying on that piece of tech.
So it's the opposite side of like they're just like locked in on one thing, and they're not willing to kind of look at other options.
Ride or die with Facebook, for example. Facebook's changed. If you're running the same Facebook campaign you were a year ago, I'm sorry, it's just not going to work anymore, right? Anybody, I'm watching people even today complaining about the new changes to Instagram, which I find amazing and exciting, because now you get to leapfrog over all of those people by adapting their new algorithm and their new way of doing things. If you look at it as a negative, you're just going to dig your heels in, and you're going to have the opposite to that shiny squirrel syndrome, and you're going to get left behind.
Right. So there's definitely a happy medium between sort of constantly, it's like anything, right? Too much or too little of anything is not good. So it's sort of finding that balance between the two. It's interesting you mentioned Instagram. We don't really use Instagram much, but so I'm going to throw another one. What are your thoughts? This is the only curveball throw. What are your thoughts on TikTok?
Oh my God, I love it. Oh, love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Love
Okay.
it. And it's not for everyone. It's not for all businesses.
I love it too. I think it's,
Wow. So, and the other thing is if you're not on TikTok and learning how to use TikTok, you're going to get left behind, because that's where Instagram is going. That's where Facebook is going to end up. And as people, adjust and adapt to that new video platform, that's where the attention is going to go as well. Right. Things I would put together in a 3-picture meme are now becoming little videos that I'm creating in my head. I'm like, oh, I could turn that into a video,
Right.
And it's amazing that I've watched people walk on, have some kind of a service-based business, right? So let's say they are a, oh my gosh, something that would probably take you years to grow, a crystal shop. And then all of a sudden that person comes on and they get in the right algorithm on TikTok. They start talking about their crystals. They have built you get such a dedicated fan base off TikTok. You know what I mean? I watched it go through the earth, and I'm using crystals as just an example.
Yeah. I love TikTok. I started sort of personally using it about a year and a half ago, sort of just mid 2019 and mid to late 2019. And I saw the ability to kind of reach out and get exposure where like Facebook, Instagram, even LinkedIn, YouTube, obviously very difficult to kind of grow that audience. There's zero, especially YouTube, there's zero kind of like push. Whereas with TikTok, which I think a lot of people don't realize, is they literally push your content to, whether it's a small number early on, and then if they like it, it kind of gets bumped up and up and up, right? And so you can easily have a, what might have been called a viral video was very hard to come by with Facebook and Instagram. You can literally have thousands of views, tens of thousands, potentially millions, like with not that kind of outlandish of content, right? It's somewhat, just if it gets, like you said, it hits the right people, they share, and you can niche into an audience there, right? Really quickly. Yeah. And I've seen even more recently, people go the business side where they can now get up to tens of thousands of followers really quickly, like within weeks, which I think is pretty much impossible to do on Facebook unless you're paying for followers, but like free. This is free. The algorithms on TikTok are
even better than what Facebook and Instagram used to be. And I'm actually excited that Instagram is going the way of TikTok and wanting to do the reels and focus that.
Right.
Because all of the people that ruined Instagram are now starting to come over to TikTok, right?
Are they ruining TikTok?
Yeah. So, and there's a real backlash of people saying, look, if they're famous and they're stars anywhere else, we don't want them. This is for normal people over here. And that's where you need to know what your platform and what your the app that you're using does. So hopefully they'll all stay over on Instagram because TikTok doesn't want them, right? Which really, they want people like you and people like me to come in and, they're really for the underdog story, right?
Tell your real life story, right? I'm a real person.
Authenticity.
Yeah, exactly. Your authentic self. Cool. Yeah. So, okay, let's go down this path because I have yet to have anyone really as excited about TikTok as you have. I mean, I think it's great. I've been thinking of ways that we could get backers on TikTok. I run another business, a hockey league, and so we've been looking at ways to kind of get it going. Right. But what are your tips? I mean, so if anyone's watching here right now, we'll just call it July 2021. TikTok's not unknown, right? I think a year ago, beginning of COVID, it was sort of unknown. Obviously even before that, it kind of got early 2020, a little bit of hype, probably doubled or tripled its, up to 1 billion users. It's not unknown now. What do you think as a business owner, people watching, entrepreneurs, like you said, service or any type of business, right? Whether it's product, service, they're an entrepreneur, they're an entertainer, whoever they are, like what should they be doing on TikTok that you think might be advantageous or helpful? Maybe tips. That was a very long way of saying, give us your top 3 or 5 tips on how to kind of utilize TikTok. And I'm listening. I'm going to write them down as we go. So
be authentic, right?
Okay.
Yes. You can't try and be anybody else because they will call you out on that like that.
That comment section is harsh. Very harsh at times, yes. Feed
into thick skin, right? So there's two streams of TikTok. It's funny, I had this conversation with somebody yesterday. You have to have a thick skin. You're gonna get trolls. It is Twitter 10 years ago. And people like me find that fun. I love trolls. It doesn't bother me. I don't take them seriously.
Anonymous user 93765411178 says, basically cuts you in half, right?
Old or something. Whatever. You're not going to hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
So, so you have to have a thick skin because for every negative comment, there's going to be 3. And if you grow your right fan base, they'll take care of those trolls for you.
Right.
The other beautiful thing is you can go in and delete those comments without having, if you delete too many comments on Facebook, Facebook's going to come at you for it. They're going to say, you're getting too many comments, so you can go in, you can delete those comments, you can leave them there. You can also take those comments and create content out of them. Say, hey, so-and-so said this to me, and then everybody goes after that person, right?
I think that's amazing, that video response, right? That I've yet to really use it enough to figure that part out, but that's amazing. I see how, that somebody will say something and then they'll almost put the comment also in the a little sort of box in the next screen, and they'll answer to it. So it kind of gives you that ability to kind of speak your side of it, and people can then see it, right? That's amazing. Yes.
Yeah, and so to go back to that cruise ship analogy, right? You've never taken a cruise, but you'll be on one.
Yeah.
Think of it as, so now you've got think of it as a cruise ship. What are you going to do? You need to have some entertainment there, right? So the entertainment needs to be consistent. You can't be having a bocce ball tournament and then, knife throwing over there sort of thing. You know what I mean? So you have to, I don't know if that was the best analogy, but whatever.
I was going to say bocce and then shots, but that sounded almost like a good combo.
Yeah.
But
you don't want knife throwing on a cruise ship. It's just not going to be.
Probably not anywhere. Right. Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're doing something consistent. And so you're going to build that audience of people who really love that bocce. They're going to go to their bocce ball tournament every day, or they're going to go to the shows every night, or they're going to do whatever. So you can have different entertainment for them, but you have to keep it consistent over a time for them to come back, because they're going to come back to see that series of entertainment. And you think about it that way, right?
Right.
So if you're a business, I know I sound ridiculous right now, but if you're a retail location and you have a really cool staff, and you give them the opportunity during slow times to get on their TikTok and to talk about work and to create cute little videos with one another, you're
Right.
going to have staff loyalty. You're going to have your store being promoted in a way that you wouldn't even dream of. And it's going to work. It's going to, if they're doing it properly. You know, I think maybe you've seen this one. There's a local store somewhere, and it's just the girls in the store talking about how hot the owner is. And I got to tell you, but you know what I mean?
I haven't seen it, but I'll have to look out for it. Yeah.
So they're doing their things, and they're you know, they want to show they've built this whole fan base, and now he's modeling the clothes, or you know, they're taking pictures of him while he's stocking the clothes. You're looking at the clothes, you see the clothes, the clothes are being advertised,
Right.
but you don't realize it.
Inadvertently, it's sort of like an indirect. It's the whole concept of content creation, right? It's supposed to be like a passive way of selling, but not like too much in your face kind of pressure hard sale, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're showcasing your work, and you're showcasing your company culture, and you're creating that that word of mouth.
Right.
Oh my gosh, I bought this shirt from this store. I saw them on TikTok for the first time. I can't believe TikTok made me buy something else. TikTok makes you buy stuff. Like, and there's a whole hashtag of TikTok made me buy this, because people are using that as content as well.
Yeah.
Such a spider web of how your message gets out.
Right.
Even your comments can go viral. I have a viral comment right now with 3,000 likes, and all I said was, he's not wrong. You know, it's just amazing to me. I don't even have any content on there, and I have followers.
Right.
So if you're being authentic, if you are using what was the second one?
Thick skin.
Yeah, if you have a thick skin,
Right.
you can create that entertaining content and stay consistent with it.
Right.
And also use the right hashtags. Hashtags are very important again on TikTok.
FYP or for your page is not the hashtag you want to be using.
I only go to my FYP. I never go to the trends. I am only ever on and so my whole FYP is filled with other people who are only directing to the For You page.
Right. Okay.
I love being surprised. I love what comes up.
Right.
And so for people who don't know what that is, you have where you can log in, and it's just like your feed, and
Right.
it's organic. So
yeah, sort of like an organic For You page, right? And then you've got your followers, or like you said, the trends is kind of like another sort of like homepage, right? You can kind of go to.
So for the trends, you can go and see what everybody's doing if you're looking for content ideas, right?
Right.
And you
Okay.
can catch into those content ideas. And then you have your sounds, right? You have the viral sounds. You want to get in that sound trend because it looks like it's a lot of fun, and some of them are, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a lot of fun. And that's the whole thing. It's fun. It's not the place to go to be serious.
No, not at all. I mean, I don't want to throw my name on what it is on TikTok, but I did a bunch of content early 2020, what year are we right now? Early 2020. Yeah, early 2020. I have about, I'd say 80 videos up, bunch of trends, bunch of crazy stuff. Just more personally, I was just fooling around. We went away with the kids and did a bunch of stuff, and kind of, stupid little skits and funny stuff. But it's Justin Fox is the tag if you want to see it. What I was going to say though is I'd love to actually throw this out there, Christie. If you're interested, I'd love you and I to put together some sort of collab on putting a backers TikTok and ideas, and you and I work together on putting ideas together. I know that's what you do. Obviously, you work with companies. I'd be interested to see if we could put something together and kind of put our heads together and ideas together, put some content for backers on TikTok. So if you're interested, we can definitely talk off air. But
talk about it. It's funny. I was just, as I was getting ready for this, I came up with an idea, and if somebody takes this, it's fine. But it was just, I thought it was hilarious to just have two people, putting a house of cards together, and then with the words marketing department, and then just have two people not paying attention, drinking coffee, walking through the house of cards, and it says sales department. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's such a hilarious TikTok, right? So just walking through
we need to get, or can we play your own parts? We can play all the different parts. That's the cool thing about TikTok. You don't need like all the actors. You just have the same person almost playing every role, right?
Yeah.
It's
you can
cool.
get creative and really put those ideas. So that would have been a meme, right? Like it would have been pictures last year. You would have put a picture here and a picture here, and you would have posted it, and you know, maybe you said your comment. Well, you just put that together in a video, and people are going to find it on your own. So that's an example of how marketing is changing to TikTok into Reels and video. And I think it's exciting because I love new. I love being on this side of new. It gives you the opportunity to grab all that real estate while people are still digging their heels and going, but I miss that for, you know, I miss the square pretty photo. Well, people are tired of the square pretty photo. They're done. They've seen enough washed out cups of coffee, and you know, they want to go on to something else. And we're entering a time, people want light, people want to laugh, people really need to have some fun again. So
yeah, definitely. And you mentioned it too, the thing that kind of catches me, and I think this is maybe just personally, the music. So I think a lot of the sounds, and I mean, it's obviously they're kind of like that, you know, the earworm, kind of like that, like catchy, buzzy tune, right? And it kind of, and
Watermelon
you hear,
Sugar is in my head right now.
What's that?
Watermelon Sugar.
Watermelon, high, exactly, all those different ones, right? So it's sort of, you know, you get that, and then you, like you said, you go through the sound, you see kind of everyone doing the same kind of version, version, right? It's kind of cool that way. So
and when how else do you get to sing with the Tragically Hip? If anybody's a Tragically Hip fan, the guys from the band are there playing the guitar and singing, and you get to come on and sing with the Tragically Hip. So it's things like that where it just blows you away, and then you post it and people come in and like it. You know?
And they comment, they go, you did it well, you didn't do it, or that's where the thick skin comes in. You got to, I think a lot of people have to be confident, because the thick skin's a tough one. And you're right. It's, you know, you do have to be able to put yourself out there, because this is the difference between TikTok and even say your personal Facebook or your small little company Facebook, is that it's actually going to go to people that are not following you, that you've never met before, and you are kind of putting yourself out there. So you definitely do have to have that thick skin. But I like, back to the music thing though, I really like that, because I think music adds like a little bit of lightness to it, and kind of attachment emotionally. I don't know, for me at least, I enjoy music. So I think there's, you know, Facebook's too much. Maybe I should start playing a musical background on these things.
Right, maybe. But I was just going to say, so if anybody's looking for a case study, all they have to do is look to the new product that came out called CeraVe. And CeraVe is a new cream line that came out, and it was introduced over TikTok. It is sold out constantly on Shoppers Drug Mart and anywhere else that it's sold, because they started their product. They knew that they had to launch it. They're launching it in a pandemic. How did they do that? They went out, got some micro influencers who were dermatologists. The dermatologists tried the product, went, yeah, this is really good. And then they started to create these really cool videos, which attracted the beauty influencers. Then they started to stitch one another. They had people in holding up cardboard signs in front of Shoppers Drug Mart going, why are you always out of CeraVe? And on TikTok, just going, why are you always out? And I got caught. I'm on the wait list for a product I've been waiting for 2 months. That is, I don't think I've ever seen. I mean, the product had to be good, and the product,
of course, it
had to be in the right. It was the right price point. It was the right quality. It was the right everything. To, you know, that's not going to happen for all products. But I watched that product go from nothing to consistently sold out during a pandemic. Can you imagine? You're not even, Shoppers Drug Mart isn't even open, and it's sold out.
Right, it's crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I'd love to talk more offline about collaborating, putting together some cool TikToks. I'll end it here. I really appreciate you, Christie, joining me on the show here today. I usually end it with one sort of question. If there was sort of one word, sort of piece of advice that you could or would give to a younger you, what would that be? What would that one word be, or piece of advice?
Be authentic. Don't ever try to be something that you're not. Just be authentic. There's never been a better time for you to find your audience than today.
Yeah. We just proved it, right? TikTok. Right? Yeah, exactly. That's proof. So where can people find you? Where can they find you? On
LinkedIn's the best way. Find me on LinkedIn, Christie Chewka at LinkedIn. I do have a company page, Media Squirrel. I'm very boutique though. So if you want to, listen to me say things or share things, LinkedIn's the best way to find it. I would send you to TikTok. I don't have any videos up there yet. I'm not.
You got the thick skin?
I do, because I started on Twitter back when it first started, right? You couldn't run a Twitter account back then and have a thin skin, It was much the same as today, but we weren't even allowed to block you back then. You know what I mean? If you blocked too many people, you're considered spam. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, I think I had Twitter not too early, maybe like 2012, 2013 was probably, but I think it was back like what? When did Twitter start? 2007, 8, right? They're early. Yeah. Okay,
only 3% of the population had Twitter when I started using Twitter.
Wow. Okay. So you were early to the game.
Really
awesome. Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you joining me. Like I said, we'll have to connect offline and do something. Everyone else, this is One Take, powered by backers, Justin Fox, Christie Chewka. Thank you very much. Have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you guys again soon. Hey there. Welcome to One Take, powered by backers. Right?
No judging.
Yeah.
No judging.
The millennials are really changing that.
Is charm. No.
All success begins with desire.
I feel like I'm on fire right now.
OMG, baby.